Have you ever stopped to appreciate the humble hedgerow? These green sentinels play a vital role in our ecosystems, but they're often overlooked and neglected, especially in the UK. To be honest, I hadn't until recently. I was out walking the dogs and I spotted these amazingly shaped but twisted trees along the edge of a field. And I wondered what they were about and why they were so distorted and warped. So I did some research and I learned it's not necessarily an ancient hedgerow as I first thought, but it's a very poorly maintained one. So what did I learn about these forgotten guardians of nature? It seems that many hedgerows, particularly those in the UK, are remnants of ancient woodlands that were cleared for agriculture. Some mark the edges of these lost woodlands and can contain species that are characteristic of woodland habitats. And then other hedges have been planted to replace woodland that once covered this green pleasant land, but were cleared for agriculture or other purposes. And in these cases, the hedgerow may not have the same biodiversity or ecological value as the original woodland, but it's still an important part of the ecosystem. And these hedgerows may be one of the most underappreciated assets in the British countryside. They're corridors for wildlife linking up fragments of habitats. And hedgerows can provide an excellent wildlife habitat and can be wonderful landscape features. You can still see a complicated web of ancient field systems bordered by old hedgerows, mostly hawthorn, but these hedgerows are sometimes in a bit of a state. And the number of hedges have declined rapidly in the last century in this country, and the Woodland Trust estimate that around 118,000 miles of hedgerows have disappeared across the UK since 1950, due largely to intensification of agriculture. Herbicide drift can kill them, of course, or ploughing too close damages the roots. But apparently the two most common causes of hedgerows falling out of good condition are over-trimming. Continuously cutting back to the same height will eventually result in a sparse hedge with no cover for wildlife near ground level, and neglect or undermanagement. This seems to be a really significant cause of hedgerows decline, accounting for something like half the hedgerows we're losing. Apparently a hedge which is not maintained at all will thrive for many years, but will eventually become too large with a tendency to collapse. So wildlife can wander through them, and eventually you just have a line of trees in the middle of a field, like this one. Now over time these too will disappear. Now experts say that good hedgerow management can provide benefits such as a home for a variety of insects including beetles, butterflies, bumblebees, which are important to pollination of crops and can control pests to a degree, and protection for mammals, birds and invertebrates, shelter for livestock and crops, and preventing soil erosion by cutting down the wind speed. They're also a valuable food source such as fruit, nuts and insects for a variety of birds and mammals such as hedgehogs and harvest mice. And hedgerows have thousands of animals associated with them. And hedgerows are closely associated with a number of European protected species, notably the dormouse, most species of bat, and the great crested newt. Now, obviously, tall, thick, bushy hedgerows are more valuable for wildlife and stock-proof fencing than low, thin ones. But a variety of hedgerow shapes and sizes will support a greater diversity of wildlife. Hedgerows need to be cut to keep them thick and bushy. However, annual cutting is not always needed. Leaving 1 or 2 metres or wider verges of tall grass by hedges provides nesting habitat for birds, and it protects hedgerows from pesticides, fertiliser, spray drift and the plough. Now, there are obviously many landowners and farmers who know how to grow and maintain a thick, healthy hedgerow, but there are far too many hedgerows flayed to an inch of their life by blunt mechanical flails, cutting far too deeply into the main tree stem, weakening or worse, killing the plant. Furthermore, the spraying of agricultural chemicals right up to the hedge root and badly timed cutting causes further damage, reducing the health of the hedgerow. So basically, this is what's happened to the hedge in the pictures. It may look weird and wonderful, but it's not practical at all and needs maintenance. I don't know what you do with it, but awareness has got to help. Hence the video. I didn't have a clue before I researched it. The next time you're out in the fields walking the dog, exploring, pay attention to the hedgerows. See if you can spot the well-maintained hedges from the poorly maintained ones. Like I say, awareness is the only answer I can think of. Thanks for watching.